Hey guys, I'm full of excitement, but you know who is here, right?
Exactly now.
David! Man, 2023, we were separated. You know, David was in Nigeria, but I knew David was not in Nigeria, because our spirit left Nigeria for a very long time. Not because Nigeria is bad, but because of the phase of our life, and we need to push for the next thing. So that requires us moving out of the country. But today, I am with him, and we are both in the US. In fact, we are on holiday together now. David, people watching this might not even know me, might not know why this video is significant, might not, the importance. So
Mhm.
I would like us to do a bit of intro, but not intro regarding professional. Of course, we want to know where you work, but why is this video? We don't have a topic yet. You will find out that we will coin the topic from this discussion. If I could go with that introduction start, because I
Yeah.
think I have an idea what um, the way it should go. I'll say, hello guys, my name is Olanawaju Oyuboke. I was formerly working as a senior cloud advocate at Microsoft, and I'm married, I'm settled in Nigeria, but I needed to make the next push for my career. And that means I need to be a student in the US. So I migrated to the US as a student. I'm still a student right now, and I'll be done May 2025. Of course, probably you can see how close it is now, compared to when I made that decision in 2023.
23.
I actually had to quit my job at Microsoft to make this move. That is a risk. And today we're going to be talking to you about the year in review. How has 2024 been for me, for David? Yeah, I'm going to pass this over to David.
Yeah. So one of the things that we wanted to look out today is what made us make that decision in 2023. How did the journey go so far
In
in
2024.
2024?
Yeah.
And what are we looking out for in 2025?
Five.
So it looks like the past, the present, and
And
the
the future.
future.
Awesome.
Um,
Your name?
my name is David Abu, and before now, I was working as a cloud advocate for Microsoft, but I was in Nigeria, but it was a global role.
Sure. You've always
Then,
been a global boy.
then I left Microsoft. Then now I'm back at Microsoft, but it's not really about our professional life, but it was more around. This video will be around what did we think at our private lives that made us say, okay, you know what, we need to move to the next stage. If you're a Nigerian, you always know that if you work in tech, there's a level at which you get to that some opportunities become very, very little, especially when you get to senior level roles. That is one. Secondly, also, again, because of the things that if you work at a global space, there's some things that you notice in the global space that you feel like being Nigeria sometimes boxes you for you to explore that type of thing, like traveling. You don't
Mm.
travel as easy as some of your colleagues would do at the global level. So I kind of have that kind of issue when my own role was even focused more around traveling, but I can't even travel that much. So I knew that there are some things I just have to sacrifice to get to the next place I want to get to.
Also, to add to this, before we even start sharing probably the lessons we come across this year, is as you continue to grow in your career, I realize the risk continue to compound too.
Yeah.
And decisions become even much more difficult. For example, as David was explaining, when you start growing in your career, you can ask yourself some questions. What next for me? What is the outlook? Some point it become critical that you're like, I'm doing well here, and you get so comfortable. It's a loop that if you don't if you're not careful enough, it might do cause some harm. It is not bad. We have people today who stayed at one single organization for the rest of their life, and they're CEOs today, and they've done so well. Yes, but there are also some people whom staying that long,
But they were
who
not moving.
you have not moved. So ours is not about staying long in a company. It is about the system. So just the way it's applicable to a do a company where you might need to move to the next one to access some next level of opportunity and growth. Same way it is also in career and the system where you are. System like a country, like environment where you are, it can place some limitation as well on your growth. And for us, I'm not going to say that we are that probably courageous, because it was not just about courage. We will share with you those lessons that most of the time we learn those lessons when we look backward,
Yeah.
and that is why this is a good time
Mm.
to actually do this kind
Mm.
of video.
I agree.
So, yeah.
I agree. Because at the end of the day, when you look at it, you're thinking around, am I really sure I want to do this? So like let's start coming from 2023, which is the past. So I did my wedding in April 8th, 2023, and after that was beautiful time of my life. He was my best man. Ola was my best man that
Yeah,
day.
yeah, you feeling?
He was my best man, and we got back to Lagos, and we're like, okay, we there was a day where in the hotel, I and
For the
Ola
Global Power
for the
Platform
Global Power
Bootcamp
Platform
2024,
Bootcamp, and
2023.
we've done a whole lot a day before that day. That was on a Friday, and when the hotel, so we're trying to just do so many decks, the PowerPoint to prepare for Saturday, which is the event. And when we're done around like 12 a.m. on Saturday morning, so we're entering Saturday, so we're done. And we said, okay, you know what, let us take a break. And by 6 a.m., we are ready for the event. And we could not sleep. We're talking around things that we want to do in our lives. And we're trying to say, okay, is this what we want? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to do? And again, he is married, so he had more
But
experience
you're
than
also
I
newly
had.
married too,
And I'm
so
just
you're
newly
a
married.
married
So
man.
so we're trying to say that, okay, so if I'm married now, what is the next step I need to take? What are the things? And that day we kind of end up saying that if it's going to cost us so many things, but we just have to leave the country. And it was something that it was so heavy because before now we've been planning to leave the country, even individually, we've always say, we'll leave the country, we'll leave the country, but we never took drastic step. And that day we
Was it?
knew
Yeah.
that we are taking the drastic step.
That was the moment that we knew
We
that,
knew that we
yes.
have to.
So for you, your reason for leaving the country, or let me not even put it for leaving the country, because this video is not just about leaving the
Living
country. It's
exactly.
about pursuing your next
Next growth.
level of growth.
Exactly.
Yeah, could still be within the country where you are, could
Mhm.
be within the company where
Where
you
you are,
are,
yeah,
but there will always be a moment when you have the final resolute
that you have to
that
move.
I have to move, I have to do, and that move might be I have to now finally take on the next kind of job. I have to switch that role. I have to probably relocate to another state, or I have to move from one state to another, move from one country to another, one company to
So
another.
another.
So it's all about managing change and risk that comes with career growth,
Mm-hmm.
seeking growth in career. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the title is shaping gradually.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, he's still around because after we make that move, I remember we finished the event, Global Power Platform Bootcamp 2023. We finished it and we're like, okay. Then we started making all the whole plans. I will not go into details for the plans, but by August, I was in UK. I remember going for fabric for an event called the Stockage Summit in UK, and that was when
I was also
you left for the
relocating to the US.
US.
Yes.
How was it like?
Yeah, it was number one, for not having your best friend around. It was tough, and number two, the fact that I have myself, my wife, and child were leaving everything. We were community made. We are people made. We're leaving everything behind. It was tough decision. David's wife was with us. Anu was with us. Back in few of other friends were with us. But it's not just about they being there at that moment. The fact that they are there, but we're also leaving them.
Yeah.
That was tough. But the reality dawned on me when I finally moved.
That you've gone.
Yes, when I finally got to the US, and okay, the experience was soothing. I'm still going to talk. We're going to mention some experience around that, but the fact that I'm leaving is not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Mm.
Emotionally, it's not easy. Psychologically, financially, So even culturally, there are a lot of things, but we are not here to explain to you what it means to be in the US. But just the challenge that comes with that movement, it's some people will think about it, they just get overwhelmed and they don't even want to think about leaving.
Exactly, because that's one of the biggest thing that I think made some people wait till now for to leave a company to another
Yeah.
company or a country to another country or an
Yes.
environment to another environment
Yes.
because they just don't understand how it will look like and the fear of it is just what you know what, let me just stay. It's not as if I'm suffering.
Yeah.
Let me just stay. And that's the real truth. It wasn't as if that we're suffering in Nigeria, sincerely. We had the best type of careers that anybody wants to wish for. We had the best type of community members.
So loving community.
We have loving communities. Data First was there, Data Community Africa was there. We have the Global Power Platform people was there, leaders were there. We have so many of our friends, church,
Shout out to the student ambassadors,
student
Microsoft.
ambassadors. So there were a lot of community that makes us say that, "Oh, you know what, we love what we're doing, but we can wait." But at the end of the day, you get to a point in time as you become a mentor, because we are senior people in the community. As you become a mentor, you want to make sure that you are improving as much as you tell the people who look up to you to improve.
Wow. To be honest, that was the that was also a very significant anchor for us to make those decisions.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if we have been leading others, we also want to make sure that we are not resting on past glory. You must understand your why. And this was part of our why. And it's for a good reason. If you are inspiring people, staying in Nigeria, getting job at Microsoft was really inspirational, brought hope to a lot of people. They now believe that wow, it's really possible to still stay in Nigeria, grew up in the environment we grew up, had the background that we had, very humble background, and yet reach that kind of career, work at Microsoft while still in Nigeria. That was like massive. And we've been mentoring people who have been assessing the international global growth opportunity like that. Um, then the question for us, also one of those questions we put on the table is, what more can we also show? We need to press further and show to people that, oh, even though we've inspired hope in your mind to see that, but that don't let that be the limit of your thinking. And what is the best way as a leader to do that?
You press forward.
You press forward to show them whatsoever lesson you learn on that journey is also going to help others. If pressing forward lead to a lesson that I should have stayed maybe a bit longer, we know that for people assessing similar opportunity, we'll have given them that life lesson. That the real essence of leader is that the journey that took you 10 years, your
should take somebody else 5 years or
no,
2 years.
David, if possible, it should take them 1 year.
Exactly.
10
I
times
agree.
less stressful,
I
10
agree.
times faster. And it means that you are not wasting your time making the wrong decision because someone has
Has
learned
gone.
through that, and could show you that. So it's also one thing that probably we've not had opportunity to stretch down.
Yeah,
But
but
now we share.
which is correct because at the end of the day, he left to the US August 2023. I was in UK at that time, but I came back and we did the Data First Africa 2023 big event. Shout out to the leaders of Data First Africa.
Shout out.
And we started planning for 2024, but I knew already that I won't be around because I've already put in motion for me to leave. But it comes with risk, which is where we are going to talk next.
Yeah, so
The risk is
we want to talk about 2024, some of
yeah.
it, just highlighting lessons. And we'll use those lessons to talk about some of the
So
things,
exactly,
experiences, and those challenges. So the first one is
life is
life
full
is
of
full of risk. Determine yours and decide on what you want to
to
do
do
with
with
it.
it.
Either you want to run away from the risk or you want to take the risk. David, for me, which I can also speak for us, our risk involves quitting our job.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you want to quit your job and move to a new environment where it's not like equal job is available or is promised over there. Yours was even a little bit tricky. Mine, I knew right on time that I have to quit. So I wrote my resignation letter and I have to go back and become a student, while still taking care of my wife and daughter. For yours, that's why it's even more heartbreaking because the initial understanding is not like I'm quitting. I'm just changing environment while I still continue to work, right?
Yeah, so it was something like that that I thought it might be possible.
Yeah.
But so what I love my wife a lot, and she wanted to get into cybersecurity. She was a product manager, and she also wanted to get into a very big tech core skill set or art skill space. And we said, okay, you know what? Go to Canada and let's go to Canada. And that was what happened. We are able to get to Canada for 2024 now, but it was risk. We have to leave so many things behind. We sell our properties, sell cars, sell everything, and we said, you know what? Let's leave. And we got there. We needed to start all over again. And my wife became a student. I was able to still continue working, but I later found out that I couldn't, and I needed to leave Microsoft. It was hard, but I knew I needed to leave. But one thing also is that as at 2023, we knew that one of the risks that might come out from us moving in our career might be I have to
Losing our
leave
job.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
losing my job. So, yeah, it was sad, but we knew it can happen, and we moved on with that.
You
So it
know,
was our biggest risk there.
yeah. You know why yours was also tempting was because while you were in Canada, there was an option to keep your job, go back to Nigeria. So that if
Exactly.
you go back to Nigeria and continue to work from there, you can still keep your job. But you know, the decision is not to just hold on to the job, or to stay back in the decision is actually to leave the system to a system where we can build more capability, show more, attain more growth, and also show more life examples. There's no way he will achieve that if he has to go back.
Yeah.
Very tempting situation.
Yeah.
Very, very tempting. But yes, that's why it's risk. He decided to swim through it rather than run away from it. Oh,
So it's important that we have that in mind that when we want to move into another space, you need to know your why, because sometimes some temptations might say stay, but if you know your why, you can always fight it out. You can always fight it out. So where's the
number
next one?
endurance is underrated.
You need to, so I think that in the course of our 2024, or personally for me, I think enduring life was one of the things I didn't know I can do. A lot of people don't see the endurance part of people like me. I think you hardly see it, because if I don't talk to you a lot, you hardly know understand the things I'm going through. You just see the community aspect of the things I do, the wonderful work we do, in the data community as a whole, but you don't see the endurance like now. Me leaving Microsoft in April and me not having job till December for let's say 7 months, I was unemployed. How were we paying
in that
rent?
kind of
In
system.
that type of system, in your first year, you're not working. So how was it possible? So there's so many things. So but endurance, and it's something that when you plan to move from a system to another system, an environment to another environment, a company to another company, you must already give yourself an endurance grace, which is that for a year I want to endure everything that comes with this new job, or with this new country, or with this new system.
Yeah.
I want to be able to enjoy it, and you put your mind into it. Most of the time, when you think about that 1 year, or you want to you for that endurance, you might be broke, you might not have money. How do you achieve that? So those are the things that you need to now start thinking of and say, okay, how do I survive that endurance level? If you can do that, if you can have that idea, for some people going into 2025 is endurance year for them, and it's beautiful because you know why, you come out of 2026 or you come out of 2025 becoming the best self of who you are.
Yeah.
Same thing I did, because this year for me was endurance year for me. And now in December, you can see on my LinkedIn when I posted that, oh, I am coming back to Microsoft HQ as a senior product manager. It was crazy day for me because of the announcement. But it shows that you putting your year into a motion for something that you really, really want to do, it means that at the end of it, you can really, really achieve it. It's just by you saying, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, David. And on the reason why endurance is key is because when it's not when those challenges start coming your way, a day will look like 1,000 days. So that's where the endurance come to play, because yeah, they did, for example, you don't have money, but when you know that you don't have money, you have to pay bill. But it's not just that experience, that overwhelming. It's just not just for one day.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. It's not like that money today. Oh, they're going to pay me salary tomorrow, so I can be able to cope. No. So that way, and you might sometimes you don't even know if there's tunnel. They say there's light at the
At
end
the
of
end of
the
the
tunnel. You
tunnel.
don't know where you are. I'm not even inside the tunnel.
You don't even know there's lights. You don't even know. Hey, jeez.
So endurance, and what helped us, because we used to be on call always. Sometimes we checking account balance. Okay, are you able to pay next month?
Remember when you wanted
rent?
to you wanted to get this thing that you're doing now,
Yeah,
the job that you're doing now.
yeah.
When that
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
Oh,
It's challenging because we just had just 1 month house rent to pay. So very challenging. One word that can help you in case you are wondering, okay, how did we do it? It's not like that was the word that we were saying every day, but these two shall pass. It's just something that when we reflect now, we can tell you.
yeah.
Then we might not be able to tell
Yeah.
because we are right in the midst of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a reality.
Mm.
Because if someone told us then too, it might encourage our heart. These two shall pass, because you just have to endure those moments. David mentioned it. It helps you, it forge you.
Yeah.
You realize a part of you that you never know existed before. Because it's tough situation that build out the
Tough
strongest
people.
character. Yeah, out of people.
I also even remember that time that when we are doing the Global Power Platform, I invited one of my mentors to the event in Lagos. And when he was going, he and his wife they came. So when they were going, I called him, I said, Sim, my body is uncomfortable at this point of my life right now. I I'm happy, but my spirit is uncomfortable. It looks like I have grown to a level that I need to break to another point. So I am in a place whereby I am too big, but I need another place where I need to forge.
Yeah.
So or I need to build myself.
Yeah.
So when you get to that point, you need to start understanding that the next phase of your life will be tough because you are going to the next place that you don't know anything about. And it's something that there's a fear factor to it because you get afraid, but there is a beautiful factor to it because at the end of it all, is beautiful. I remember the time that we used to fast and pray.
Yeah.
What we
So
are called praying.
we still have a point to share more about that. We fast, we prayed, and this third point here, vision will win. I think one way or the other we've already summarized that in our point.
Yeah.
Because there must be something you are pursuing or something that is pursuing you, that is helping you to make that kind of decision. For us, we're looking forward. For me, um, my pastor in my church, Pastor Sam, always said this: the longer you plan, the better your decision now. So if you are making a decision for the next 1 week, yeah. But if you are making a decision based on the next 5 years, 10 years, you realize that the decision you are making for 1 week, if you put 5 years, 10 years into perspective, you will not make that decision.
Yeah.
If for the same reason. So the longer you try to plan, so that's why some people, what is holding them back is probably they are thinking of the short decision. Oh, I'm working, I'm earning this, I'm earning that, because you are looking at your presence. But when you look at the next 10, 5 years, the impact of what you are trying to make, oh, will this thing be impactful? How much of impact? You then realize that the decision you might make by that 10 years, 5 years planning might not favor you now.
Now.
Because so also for us, didn't
Yeah.
favor us now. But
Yeah.
because we are looking more years, generation ahead, years ahead, then we knew that okay, overall it's going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So vision will always win.
Mm.
Wherever it takes you to, you know that it's for a longer time, not immediate.
Mm. I remember when I was planning to come to the US and I was being picked between staying in Canada or being in the US or coming to the US. And this person said, see, don't make any decisions because of your present condition. Let me give you for example. I know I'll come back to Microsoft like my offer was with me as at August. Like I know they've called me by July that I'm coming to back to Microsoft. So the offer was made by August. So it wasn't that I did not have anything. I don't know that there's a job for me. But one thing was that I was in between, should I stay in Canada or move to the US? So I was now like, okay. But this person said to me, he said, don't think, don't think because of your present condition you want to stay. Think of at the long run where will be the best for you to be at the long run. And I looked at my career as a whole. You're very, very, very close to me. USA has been where I always wanted to be. Always, always wanted to be. I've started watching Microsoft Ignite since 2019. So I fell in love with being at those type of events, those type of locations and stuff like that. So I knew that being in the US for my career, for me personally, or for my family is the
We
best.
need the exposure too.
Exactly. And I knew, but again, was that if I make that decision of coming to the US, I have to stay for a long time and wait
Without
immigration
anything. Yeah.
without anything.
And you are pressed, you need money, you
And
are
we need
broke.
money, and
If you collect the other over,
I will
you start
stay.
working, you
I
start
will start
collecting
working.
money.
And so I needed to say, okay, you know what? I wait. So I needed to
Mm,
wait from then till
mm,
December before I
mm,
start. So I stayed another like 4 5 months again, without work, just waiting. Just waiting. See, the waiting period is when you are being forced. Your vision need to be there. You need to understand. It's not as easy as we say it now, but it is just what we knew that we just had to pass through. Because if we don't pass through this, we cannot come here and tell you what we did.
I agree. And that takes us to the next 4 point, which is you need friends and
Community.
community. My God. It's hard going through life alone,
Mm-hmm.
going through your situation alone, I can't okay, a quick example. Friends, community. When I migrated to the US with my family, we we didn't have a place to stay. Thank God for a friend. You know,
In the data
we
first community.
yes, in that first community, who is now become a very close brother now. We had to stay with him and his family for 2 weeks. And we later also find out that within this place there's Nigerians in Little Rock. We're able to form more friendships and build more community that when you need someone, someone will show up for you immediately. When I was going through those situations where I also quit my GA here and I don't have any job, I was back in the market. I had friends that were working, that were checking on me, encouraging me. But more importantly, I have friends that were in the same situation together. David. We're not so every day, so they apply, multi submit 50 applications. Like I've submitted 50 more applications. We encourage each other to keep applying for jobs, submit applications. Sometimes we just know we have each other. No, no, like literally because we're in the same situation, we're able to encourage each other way more and better. We have community back home, people at Nigeria that keep checking,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
want to know how you guys faring, how you guys doing.
Mm-hmm.
They could not help in other ways, but those check on words of encouragement, they strengthen us through those moments as well. So friends, community, some even give gifts,
Yeah.
to support us, all those kind of things. So
Yeah.
I agree that you will need friends and community on this journey.
Yeah. Like one of our friend Debo. Like shout out to Debo. I know you watched this video. Debo picked me up from the airport when I got to Canada. Took me for like the first 4 5 days where I was in Airbnb. He paid for everything. He made
Wow.
sure that I was comfortable.
Wow.
He was one of those people that I knew Debo less than 2 years. Yeah, I think it was when he was traveling to Canada that I got to know him even more closely. But I knew him less than. He knew me a lot already, but because of my community work, but I knew him less than. And this guy was the best. I think for 2024, apart from Ola, I'm going to give it to Debo and another guy
No,
called Sunday.
give it to Debo.
I should give it to
Yeah,
Debo.
give it to
Debo was
Debo.
the best. Was the best. He was ready to help. Drove. And funny how he was also the only person that made sure that when we were leaving Canada to the US, he followed us to the airport and said goodbye to us. So Debo and his wife, were blessings
Yeah.
to us.
Great.
And that is friends. And we also have community. There are a lot of people who are checking up on us. So now, this is one thing I want to say to people. When somebody loses a job or somebody says is going to the next level, just tell you that, oh, I'm leaving this job. Yeah, sometimes you might say congratulations. I think we see that on Twitter. Oh, congratulations, your next thing. Sometimes these people don't have the next job. Sometimes, if you are close to the person, if you're not close, that is fine. But if you're close to the person, reach out and say, "Hey, did you get a new job, or you're looking for something else?" If the person tells you that, "Oh, I got a new job," oh, that is beautiful. But if the person tells you that I'm looking for something else, help the person as much as possible. If it's words of encouragement, if it's anything, help that person because they really, really need it.
Do you also know that, Debo, even if, I said Debo,
David.
David, even if the person, even if someone is relocating, more of the time, what we've seen is people billing them. The
Yeah,
moment they get to that country, you just think that everything has changed for
for
them.
them. No.
You should rather also care as well.
Yeah.
Reach out to them. Sometimes you think, oh, they are not reaching out to you. Oh, because you have now moved now to the US, you have now become big boy. Abi, you have abandoned us. It's not like that.
Yeah.
They are going through a lot. You should also try as much as possible to just check on them. If they are not checking on you, check on them. Just do it. Once they get settled, stabilized, they will
It's
never
more
forget
exactly.
those
You
moments.
know, we won't.
So either they lose job, either they get, even with someone that got new job,
Yeah.
it's challenging.
It's challenging
Coping on
going
a
to a
new
new
job. The first
environment.
90 days is always,
Yeah.
it's always so.
Yeah.
Your check on them should also be, I want to be sure that you are good and you are settling in on this job well.
And another thing is this. One of the things that made I and Ola very, very close. Let me give you an experience. When I got my first Microsoft job in 2021, Ola reached out. Then I and Ola were not close.
Yeah, we're just in
We're
community.
just in community. And he reached out. He said, David, congratulations on your new job. What do you need to be successful in this new job? That was the beginning of us being best of friends because we flew to Kogi together with his own money. He doesn't even care. We flew to Kogi together to
But
talk about
you
community,
also took care
power
of your bills and
platform.
many other bills.
You
So yeah,
understand? We
yeah.
took care of our bills and stuff like that. Then we did it. That was when you wanted to get married.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was then.
True.
So, and I even did not know that I was planning to get married because he was doing it on the very low key. So, what am I just trying to say is that at the point at which you are lending a hand to another person, you might find the best set of relationship there. So, you
Yes.
don't always think that, oh, this person is already fine, so you don't need to talk to this person, or it's only when you need something you need to talk to them. No, 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 no. Most of the time, just checking up or saying hello, how are you? Hope you're good is also very good. Sometimes we know that life is hard on everybody, but friends and community is one of the best things you always want to have in your corner.
I agree. As we just, I mean, I hope you're enjoying this. So do well to subscribe wherever this video will be placed. Like, subscribe, follow. Okay. So the God's effect. So as we wrap up the last points.
Yeah. Um, being Christians for us is one of our biggest life lessons because for us, as much as God has in us given us the things that we need to do to become, He made us who we are in His own image for us to grow, for us to build more, for us to build communities around the world for Him. One of the things we also noticed about the God effect is that we can demand from God what we want in our lives. And in His favor, in His mercy, in the way He works that we have seen, is that He made sure things work in our favor. And we have seen it over and over and over again. And for us, in this period, we fasted, we prayed, we did a whole lot of things to get to this point. But I think that sometimes when we have gotten to a point in which we desire, we just feel like, oh, we don't need God. But for us, it wasn't the way for us. We knew that we always, always, always need Him. And we don't leave our churches the way where people just move and no, no, no. We are always thinking of the way in which to improve the relationship with God, and secondly, also to also improve the relationship with all other of our local churches that we have been planted in. For people like us, or personally, I don't say that, oh, I'm just building a relationship with God. I don't care about the folks or my local church. No, I do both. For me, you always see me, I talk about my local church on my WhatsApp a whole lot, and I also do a whole lot for my local church or my local community. There was a time I did the tech stuff where I trained
Yeah,
children,
yeah.
children in tech community, in technology. They were learning Power BI, learning young people between 8 and 15. They were learning Power BI, learning different technology, product design, data, and stuff like that. So one of the things that we also do is that in our own journey, as we grow into 2023, 2024, I think that one of the things we saw was God in our life. Like it was so, it wasn't as if that we had the money
Mm-hmm.
when we we're passing through all this,
Mm-hmm.
but we just felt that God was there at a very particular period of time. So you know something that I also noticed is that, let me give you for example, at the time that we want to pay an house rent, eh, the money that comes in pays that house rent. Like it wasn't as if that we went to work or something. Something just comes in and pays the house rent. Somebody just say, "Oh, David, oh, I want to send you a money like that," and that pays the house rent for that month. It was so we're living on very tiny budget, but we knew that for every month it just takes care of itself. And now I'm happy at this point where we are in now. We're in kind of abundance right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
but that God factor, even in abundance, even when we are not in abundance, was
Mm,
just there.
mm. To be honest, things like this, when I thought people say maybe we are pastors, no, we are not, because we value our faith and our belief and trust in God. And like David, if I'm to use a word to summarize David's explanation around the God factor, I would say Emmanuel.
Mm,
God with us, and that was it for us. We felt God's presence with us throughout those journey, either when we have and when we do not have. We
yeah,
just know we couldn't cope through this. See, there are challenges that you face in life. You just know that you have to surrender
exactly.
everything to God.
If it's not God, nothing can happen.
Nothing can happen. So it got to that point for us too.
Yeah.
And I'm happy because God doesn't disappoint.
Mm.
We our hope, our faith, our trust is in Him. That was why that my dad and David over the night we pray on phone, we'll be praying, moving around. Well, let's reserve that. But the fact here is this: in the midst of all of this,
Yeah.
our trust and love for God does not diminish. And I even felt that this moment was what brought me even much more closer to God. It wasn't without challenge. We told you there were
Yeah.
challenges,
Yeah.
but we also know that God is with us no matter what you face. That can bring peace and calmness to even situation. If you just know that this moment shall pass because God is with me. I'm
Mm.
not in it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So keep doing what you want to do, keep doing what you should do, but also know that with God all
All
things
things
are
are
possible.
possible.
And yeah, so to be honest, the faith part was a very strong one for us.
Yeah. What do you think about 2025?
I look into 2025 with so much hope
Mm.
and excitement. Why? Because I know what lies ahead is way better. We are just coming out.
Yeah.
We are just stepping out. We've gone through yeah, still on the faith now. The scriptures say, except a corn of seed, fall to the ground and die, it abided not. But when it died, it brings forth much more fruit. So we
Mm-hmm.
believe our death and the resurrection is more or less this year, where we have to go through that change, transition, transformation, submerge, to the lowest and the depth of our experiences,
Yeah.
and now imagine. So I believe 2025 is a year of imagine. So you're going to be hearing so many updates. Àwa náà kọ́ Ọlọ́run ni o, it's not us, it's just so, but it's just to let you know that we cannot, either we like it or
Or not.
not, it will come. Because it is God who is working those things out and has took us through this year, and now we are, emerging. So it's something that when we think about, I'm always excited. I might not be able to list 5, 10, 20 things for you, but I know it's full of amazing things. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
For
can't wait.
2025, two things. For so from a career perspective, I think that for me personally, I'll be focusing more around Copilot, Copilot Studio, Copilot AI. I'll be doing a whole lot of around AI, product, data, AI. So Copilot Studio is one of the things that I'll be focusing on next year. That is for career path. So everything that you're going to see me do from a community standpoint, from speaking standpoint, from marketing standpoint, is going to be Copilot Studio. But from a personal standpoint, I think that I am more now balanced for what I in 2023. While I wanted to look at 2024, it was more around, am I sure I want to do this? I'm more afraid, but I know I have to. I know I have to get into that level. I know I have to do something. I know I have to move. So I was around the figuring, the burning stage, whereby you know that stage whereby you burn, what do we call this thing, the gold, where
Yeah,
that
yeah,
transformation
yes,
stage,
because you use it
heat,
to, the goat go through that eating
that
process,
eating
that
process.
burning. Yes.
So that burning process was our, for me, it was our 2024. Like it was, I was quiet. For people who know me, I was quiet. Then now at the end of 2024, you can see the result of it. For some people, it's different. So for some people, they have different stories, but this is just our own story. But for 2025, I think that I'm more excited to do a lot. I think a lot of travels will happen for me. I'm more excited also about my wife. She's a brilliant person in the cybersecurity space. So I'm more excited for her in our own cybersecurity world. And for both of us, for I and Ola, I think that what we just want for what we want to do is majorly build on the things that we've done even before this little transition phase, then take it to a more global level. I think we've done a whole lot for the global space, even in Africa, how we've helped a whole lot of people by the grace of God. With every other leaders in the African space, I think I kind of salute a lot of people doing amazing work there.
Yeah.
But I think for us now, we want to be in the global space now,
Yeah.
physically in the
Yeah,
global
we are
space.
there right now, and you're going to see a lot of updates to inspire to also help you
Yeah,
make similar decisions. So I will just two things before we just call up this video. One is going to be a shout out. We need to do a shout out to our wives. My wife, David's wife, Ariana. And also our friends and communities.
yeah,
We want you to know that an African adage says it takes a community to raise a child. We are
yeah,
still a child. We are still a
yeah,
baby.
yeah,
And we believe that it takes your support, your encouragement. Every post we put out there, I had a couple of posts that even went viral this year because when you see it, you know that liking that post is not just giving visibility to Ola's or David post because you're going to see more of that in 2025. It's also writing a story that one day you are part of and it's going to inspire and help someone else's life and career. I
agree.
want you to see it that way. That in 2025, as you see us doing things out there, as you are engaging, finding ways to support, you should know that you are not just contributing to our sources. You are also helping someone
Someone
else
else.
because those stories we are sharing with you now was a result of your support, your encouragement. In any way you think, oh, is it just by sending message, is it just by liking and retweeting or posting? Yes,
You have done a
all
lot.
those things that you were doing, engaging and commenting, supporting, sharing ideas, checking on all those that have our contact, those things were really encouraging. And that's why we are saying a big shout out to our friends. To mention them, obviously, is going to be as long and even longer than the duration of this video itself. So we might not be able to mention specific names,
Yeah.
but our wives, Taiwo Oyinboke,
And Oluwapo David Abu.
Ariana Oyinboke, we say thank you for the support because if they didn't give us the peace, it's going to be much more tougher. They
Yeah.
were in the moment with us. They
Yeah.
also strive. They went through that experience, trusting, believing us. Even my baby that could not talk, that time was also going through that experience with us, taking decision for her.
I know. I said something on WhatsApp one time. I said, everybody saw a mentor,
Mm,
but Oluwapo, my
mm,
wife, saw someone else
mm,
who was down who was being figured out, who
Mm.
was, so you see somebody at their lowest point,
Mm.
somebody who before now money was not their problem,
Mm.
now $1 was a problem.
Mm.
So those time was when you see different set of marriages fall apart. Those times is when you see who you really get married to.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of now start understanding that these things are. That's why a lot of people are afraid because they don't know what is on the other side.
Mm.
But again, God is there with us.
Hallelujah. So thank you all. Beyond our 2025 prosperous, we know that there are great things that lies ahead of you in 2025.
Yeah.
This growth is not just ours alone that we're going to
Mm-hmm.
go through.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to ride on this growth together. So I want to just appeal that you should have a growth mindset. Just might not be to just leave the country or leave the company, but you have to become a better person.
Person.
And
Yeah.
that involves, learning, accumulating capability. For example, learning and working with co-pilot, like David mentioned. I'm doubling down on that in 2025. And it does not require you leaving your job. It does not require you changing your career. It does not. You can add it to what you do today, and that can be an edge for you. You should be ready to do this. Do this with us, the co-pilot boys. This is my co-pilot Oga, but I mean, I'm a co-pilot boy, so let me talk to Oga now, all that kind of stuff. We just want to encourage you because we know 2025, irrespective of what you face this year or how fearful you are for that year, we want to promise you it's brighter than you think of.
Yeah, it is. It is. Just go into 2025 with hope. That is what I want you to go into. Go into it with hope. Go into it with your whole spirit. Don't go into it thinking that, oh, something bad is going to happen. No, go into it with your whole spirit. Even though if it is your figuring stage, like your hitting stage,
Mm.
going into it to get hit.
Yeah.
If it's your blossom stage, go into it and blossom. If it is your learning stage or your learning year, go into it and learn for 365 days. No matter what it is that you want to do, even though you don't have a plan, but make sure that you have something that you're looking forward to. I will not approve that you should not have any plan, but no matter what, try to take something away from this one year that you are going into. So no matter what it is, I really, really wish you the very, very best of 2025.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.